Hey folks, what's going on? We're going to get some artwork done this morning for our Eberron adventure. Give me a second here to check my signal, do some social media posting, and then we'll get to work for like an hour. I'll be back today for lunchtime, probably like around 1:30 Seattle time. That'll be in about 6.5 hours from now. That'll be 4:30 East Coast time. And let's see, pressing buttons here. And I think we might be working on some Spelljammer subclass work at lunch today. I'm not 100% where we're at with stuff yet, but I feel like that's what's going to happen. So stick around for that. Just to give you a quick intro for myself. Hey, my name is Theurgy. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And I've been focusing my attention on creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, publishing on DMsGuild here for the past 7 years. I started DMing back in 1987. I started freelance illustration work in 99, became an Eberron enthusiast in 2005, and started creating content in 2017 for 5th edition. So that's a quick path through me, where, when, and let's get this lined up here. There. I'm on the X Twitter platform. If you are as well, I'm at Theurgy. That's where I post illustrations, invitations, when I go live, etc. Stuff to take a look at. And then here on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're live in the future. Here is the full playlist of all 356 episodes of us creating this adventure. And here's a stack of books that I've already created on DMsGuild. They're all free preview. Check them out if you want. Join my Discord community here. If you want to support me directly, Patreon. And here's a Twitter. Bobby's your uncle. So let's move on from that. And book cover we created around episode 40. You can check that out in the full playlist. Here's the page that we were working on yesterday. Let's see where we are at. I'm really happy with how this is bleeding out into the space. I'm liking the light framing for the boxes. I want to work on the border, but I don't feel like I want to work on it yet. I feel like the first thing I should do is get all the assets onto the page and then build the frames around the page and then integrate the art into the frame with the page. We could end up doing neat little things like what's cool stuff that we could do. I'm just messing around right now. I doubt I'll actually do this, but I just wanted to play around with space for a few moments. Like I could do like this crystal crust is something that we see throughout the dungeons once you get into the manifest zone. So like having little crusty things like this framing the box isn't necessarily a bad idea. It's just a matter of controlling the space. How obnoxious is it going to get? How practical is it? Wait for it. Hold. this is a thing we could do. Potentially have this stuff bleed out into the frame around to make it merge together. This is an idea. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it's one of the things that we can start messing around. Like once we start working on integrating the frame, and hey, Rel, once we start working on the frame of the piece, we can look at, like, do we want to introduce this type of breaking the box sort of visual effects on here. So I like that. I like the idea of a lot. I also like the idea of transitioning the material from one section to another, like while we're in Act 1 where things are relatively peaceful, having like more natural looking things like flowers or something like that are framing them. But then as we move into text boxes that are like in the manifest zone, and then we can start having crystal growth and stuff like that. And then when we get down into the research facility where it's most intense, it could have like more claw-like or dangerous, dangerous looking stuff as opposed to the crystals. I don't know. We're just messing around with ideas right now. So we'll figure that stuff out. But I'm liking for the most part how these are working. I'm kind of thinking about how these would bleed into each other. And like, is this something that is this a texturing process that I even need to worry about, you know? So we're just messing around with stuff right now. If I leave that gap blanked out with the page, it creates more of a natural transition from each other, I think. So having the gap, I think, is ultimately probably for the best. I like the idea of bleeding, like the farmhouse is isolated up here at the entrance. Something like that. Maybe. I don't know. We're just kind of messing around right now. How you doing today, Rel? Doesn't feel very natural, though. Huh. No, I don't really need to do that. I could do, though. That-ish. God, that's gonna be ugly as fuck. Hey, but you don't know until you try, right? Yeah, that's absolutely the fucking wrong idea. But the numbers are right, but that number is too small, actually. I need to... Up to 200. Too big. Maybe 150 is where it's at. And center it up on a bunch of dots. That seems a little bit more practical. Well, obviously these numbers are off. We'll fix those. Yeah, when we fix the map, we'll fix all the numbers on all the maps. But is that too large? It feels, at the full page scale, it seems okay. It's awfully garish, and it's a significant size font. Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. I'm gonna blip that out of the way, and then. That was 150, so maybe 100 actually is the right size. Let's try 125 real quick, just to not ignore it. Seems like a decent size. Maybe I want to have it positioned up here though. If I position it up there, I think it's too far away from where it's actually... That seems reasonable. Ish. And that's too hard of a break. So let's go into here and fix that break. Maps. Gack. I've got gack going on in my throat. It's just bad. Better now. Yeah, feels pretty good. Good. All right, cool. Let's just put a fork in it for now. What is that? Trash. Yeah. This page is fine for now. We did the updates on all this text yesterday. But I'm good with that page as it sits. It's appropriate. 15. I am not yet ready to work on this some more, so I'm going to go ahead and this actually is where we are at with this page right now. It's the only thing that needs to be messed with right now, but I don't have enough corn maze tiles for us to properly work with this, so I'm going to have to make probably another four crop maze tiles to be able to piece together to make mazes. Words, Kearney. But I don't feel that's where we're at this morning. That feels like a fantastic Saturday morning project. So I think that's what we're going to do. I suspect this Saturday, assuming that we don't have a team assembled for us to have a session 0 for the play test on Saturday. Assuming that we'll be streaming on Saturday, I think we'll spend more time in further developing tiles of these, so I can scale this down a little bit more and show off like a 2x3 grid or like a 2x4 grid. But the idea here is fields adjacent to the barn and garden. Fields of barley, corn, and wheat stretch for miles from the homestead. Low growls accompany sounds of thrashing through the tall fields. The adjacent map is an example of arranging terrain tiles that are provided with this adventure when purchased on DMsGuild here. Undead have wandered from the Carnwood into the farmlands of the village. Any homestead that has been attacked has undead roaming the fields. If left unchecked, they create new packs of undead, as described in option encounter 1, Undead Pack Attack. So the way it's built out is there's prepare here. Let's go to page 1 to 7. I think this is where we're working next anyway. Good transition, Kearney. Fold that up. Here we go. Encounters. So the events of the adventure are organized into 3 types of encounters: wandering, prepared, and optional. Wandering encounters are regions and areas throughout the adventure include random tables of creatures that can be encountered while the characters explore different locations. Using these tables as a more tangible sense of an activity in the world with unexpected challenges and opportunities for characters to interact with. Prepared encounters are unique challenges and opportunities that are included with the descriptions of the regions and areas throughout the adventure for the characters to discover and interact with as they explore. And then optional encounters are each region provides additional encounters the DM can choose to include during the adventure that are prepared but not designed for a specific location. Many of these encounters have unique maps that can be used while traveling between locations or transitioning from one part of the adventure to another. So when we're making reference to like seeing the optional encounter Undead Pack Attack, that's a standalone like vignette sort of. Let's see, is it on this page? Yeah. Optional. Here you go. Optional encounters. The following optional encounters are provided as additional challenges for the characters to overcome and to demonstrate how important the characters are to the survival of the village. So encounter number 1, Undead Pack Attack. This encounter can be used when the characters are in the village square or while investigating nearby homesteads. The mob of undead originating from the Carnwood spot the characters closing distance to attack them and any creature nearby. Roll 1d6 on the table below or choose... God, this is a Kearney. Use your words, Kearney. Use them correctly. Pin. Drop. Bop. I need to fix that while I'm looking at it. One of the practical sides of reading your text over and over again while you're building things. Let's get down here. Roll 1d6. Oh, I already fixed it over here. Well, 1d6 on the table. That's right, because all this text is old. Anyway, so having said that, roll 1d6 on the table below, and that 1d6 certainly does not need. Yeah, that bar is not there. 1 to 2. It's 1d3 plus 3 ghouls. By the way, with the new combat system, 6 ghouls is considered a moderate challenge for both 7th and 8th level characters. Not quite deadly for either one of them. You can push yourself up to 9 ghouls and like 12 ghouls. 9 ghouls for 7th level characters and 10 or 11 ghouls for 12th level characters before becoming overly dangerous. 1d3 ghouls, and the long dead are 1 CR, half the value of the ghouls. Ghouls are CR2, which is 200 XP. It's like 1100 XP for a 7th level party to have a moderate fight, and 1300 XP for a 8th level group of 4 to face a moderate threat. So 200 XP per ghoul. At 1100, that's 5. At 1300, that's 6 before driving over the edge into a deadly encounter. Long Dead are 100 are CR1, so they're 100 XP each. So this will be like around 700 XP, and like 2d4. You're going to average like 5, so that'd be 500, and then you're going to get on average 2 ghouls here, which are 200 each. That's 400, 500. That's about 900 experience points for this option here. So this is going to average, 1,000 experience points, 900 experience points, and then Long Dead and Fresh Dead are both CR1. So this will be 5 plus 3, that's 800 CR. So 1,000, 900, and 800 experience points respectively. A pack of skeletal and sickly pale undead come into view. Inhuman shrieks and snarls erupt from the creatures as they close towards you. A wretched stench overwhelms your sense as they near. A pack of skeletal and bloated undead come into view. Inhuman shrieks erupt from the vile creatures as they shamble towards you. The bloated ones appear to be loggers and farm folk. So ghouls are, they're ghouls. They're sickly, pale flesh critters that paralyze you if they attack you. Long Dead are crystal-coated skeletons that are hard to kill, but are just otherwise just skeletons. And Fresh Dead are people that have died in the past, say, month. Their body are bloated with rot swell and the vulpinolitharia that grows in their stomach as a result of being killed by the Mabaran creatures. And they explode, throwing poisonous fungus everywhere when they do. So the undead appear within 60 feet of the characters from behind any structure or vegetation that can provide at least 3/4 cover to the mob. And in all these maps, there's always a structure, like trees and high brush vegetation or fences. There's always something that's within 60 feet of the characters when they're interacting in all these environments. So the undead appear within 60 feet of the characters from behind any structure or vegetation that can provide at least 3/4 cover to the mob. Once combat begins, they fight until destroyed. Any character that uses the search or study action can make an intelligence or wisdom investigation survival check, DC 14, to follow their tracks towards the farmhouse and then the Carnwood. We fixed that already. That now reads as follow their tracks to the northwest into the Carnwood. There you go. So that's the setup with that. Throughout these regions, once undead start attacking them, if you stumble across an undead and you get into a fight with them, they'll attract more dead to attack you. So most of the encounters that we actually have in these different adventures it's like anywhere from like 1 to 3 undead apiece. And it's not so much that we want you to get into a fight and then get into a prolonged fight. It's more like the action loop is we encounter 1 or 2 undead, kill them as fast as you can so that the sounds don't linger long enough to attract attention. If things go wrong in a battle, more creatures show up to increase the intensity of it. But if you finish off the couple undead that you'll run across at a time, if you drop them fast, then there's no problem. So your characters are moving from location to location, eliminating the threats as fast as they can to keep the combat moving and not get boring, first off. But also the actual Ludo narrative is that you're going to attract attention if you keep fighting stuff in the forest, or in the Carnwood. So that's the idea that happens behind there. I'm gonna hit save here real quick. Just drop that off frame altogether. I'm pretty sure we've updated the text on this as well, but let me double check that. Each region provides additional encounters the DM can choose to include during the adventures that are prepared, but not designed for a specific location. Many of these encounters have unique maps that can be used while traveling between locations or transitioning from one part of the adventure to another. Unique challenges and opportunities are included with the descriptions of the regions and areas throughout the adventure for the characters to discover and interact with as they explore. Yeah, I can rework those. I'm not going to in this instance, but we can certainly rework those. Let's see. And then we have on this map here, I don't think we have a specific map built out for this yet. So let's see. What are we looking at? The plot hooks. Donk. Donk, 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 donk. How do I want to do this? I'm trying to figure out how to scale this map. So the way that it works is there's Act 1 at the village, which is a default, like where the default plot hook starts, but also friends and family as an alternate plot hook. And then from there, they head into the Carnwood Forest. So down here is the village. And then that transitions into the forest, which then transitions into the manifest zone. Which then transfers to the underground bunker. Now when you're looking at alternate plot hooks, the friends and families start in the village. The gatekeepers, Church of the Silver Flame, they start in the forest or manifest zone. Actually, both of these start in the manifest zone. That's right. And then Ader Academy and the 12 both start directly inside of the research facility. So this one goes into Act 1. These two go into Act 2, and these two are in Act 3. So, okay, so when I'm looking at this map here, these things are, so the way that we have the ways that we have the hooks arranged in the appendix is that we're providing more and more, we're providing more information up front as a narrative, as a narrative piece for the DM to understand what's going on and like who these different factions are and what information they have access to. The 12 have the most information. They know who the necromancers are. They know about Aether Academy. They know about the artifact, and they know why it's all happening, and they're directly benefiting and funding it. Aether Academy knows about the location, knows about the artifact, doesn't necessarily know who's in charge or specifically why they're doing it and who's going to benefit from it. The Church of the Silver Flame and the Gatekeepers, they know the location. They pick that up through divinations, and they know what the threat is, the creation of a manifest zone. They don't know about the artifact, they don't know who it is, they don't know why they're doing it, and they don't know who's benefiting from it. And then at the very end, there's friends and family. All you know is that your family invited you to show up to this town that they've joined, and when you get there, everyone's fucking dead. So what happened to your family? Why this happened? And it becomes a vengeance mission for you to push through. So it makes sense that like you would learn everything about what's going on up front, and then learn that Aether Academy knows about some of it, and that the church and the gatekeepers know even less about what's going on, and that the characters, the friends and family, are completely ignorant. It makes more sense doing it that way than to, I think, rearrange it to say, hey, you show up in town, everyone's dead, and you have no idea why. On these plot hooks, you know that there's an evil artifact somewhere nearby in the forest, and if you're with Aether Academy, you know that the location is an underground facility, and that an artifact has been stolen to make that facility active again. And if you're with the 12, you know that they directly funded the creation of the project to get the manifest zone with the artifact up and running again to profit from it. I guess I could see it going that way. Am I crazy for I'm thinking things through. Okay, so the brain freeze is that when you're at the top of the page and working your way down, things that happen first are generally at the top of the page, and things that happen last are at the bottom of the page. But the way that this is structured right now, by giving you all the information up front from the 12, and then cutting off information as you move through plot hooks, that cutting off of information is physically moving you further away from the nexus of the manifest zone to become more and more ignorant as you transition away from like being in the know. And so we already know about the research facility from the description up top. We already know about the manifest zone. We already know about the forest. We already know about the village. So I don't hate this. One, two, three, like that. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2. Boy, how do I want to depict this? Underground. Teleportation chamber. There's the Nexus. Entrance access. Facility. That's like a rough floor plan of what the place is like, but that's not gonna feel practical. That doesn't have any practical application right now. Like, you don't know what the fuck that is, so that doesn't work. Yeah, this is an interesting challenge. So we have the village here, and then we have the forest. Can we wrap the forest? Because the manifest zone is in the forest, so can we wrap the forest around all of this? Have the village in here. Having it poke through the tree line here as buildings, maybe? Tree line here. So kind of like up in the kind of like here. Right, we got the forest in the backdrop there. So I'm thinking something similar to that. We have the village here, and then we have forest, and then the forest gives way to the manifest zone. Let's just go with a slop green right now. Zone beyond that. All right, I still got 20 minutes. Interesting challenge, though. And then Nexus beyond. It's kind of a fun idea. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Short long rests. The opportunities to rest during the adventure is the opportunity to rest during the adventure is largely dictated by where the adventure begins and the duration of the adventure. Part 1 starts starts when the characters arrive at the village Peace, located at the edge of the Carnwood, 20 miles south of the manifest zone, within the forest. Characters can safely take short and long rests as needed while in the village, even using an abandoned farmhouse if they choose. And they can camp in the forest as they travel towards Manifest Zone. Part 2 starts when the characters enter the Manifest Zone. While there, the characters can take short rests if they can hide their location, but the hostile environment, monsters, and frequency of patrols in the zone prevent taking a long rest without disruption unless they're able to secure and conceal their location for the entire duration. Otherwise, the characters can retreat to the forest, village, to the forest or village in Part 1 as needed. Part 3 starts within the underground facility at the center of the Manifest Zone. The characters can take a short rest in the facility if they can conceal and secure their location for the duration. But the presence of monsters and the frequency of patrols, the general activity within the facility prevent the characters from taking a long rest unless they retreat to an earlier part of the adventure. So that's your danger pacing there for your ability to regain resources as you tackle challenges, which is why we give you a number of days before the ritual completes. So if you're attacking it piece by piece, you have a chance to take long rests to do so. But we do have a space here for an illustration that we can drop in, and I don't know what that illustration should be. Visibility, conditions, terrain. This column is talking about short and long rests. What's something fun we can do about that? I don't know. Icons. What are we doing here? Rests. kind of liking this idea. A little campsite thing. It's kind of cool. It actually feels pretty fucking fun. It's a little campfire thing. I love it. I love it. That's good. Front page. That's right. We're working on a map. Let's go. Crystals of Avar, artwork, intro. Still rough, but Ader Academy, Bastion, Village Peace, the Mabar Manifest Zone, and the locations that are inside of it. Icefall River, Talenta Plains. I probably don't need this much map. I can probably get away with this, and I can probably get away with twisting it like that. Maybe we can work this around a little bit. Because that angle's all wrong. Ader Academy, Fort Bastion, and then the Manifest Zone. Nah, I'm not liking that. That is not jiving. That is not jiving.
could potentially take this down here like that. Guess we could have this at the top, but what I could potentially do is rearrange it so that all of this is along the top here. And then we could push the text of this stuff. This might make sense. Do that, bring this down the page here like that instead. Makes a lot of fucking sense. This is making a lot of sense right now. It's actually making a ton of sense. Oh, I love the creation process. It's so fun. It's so it's like such a pain in the ass until it isn't, you know? Until you suddenly figure it out and then everything's fucking awesome. Bring this in a tick. Here. There. Get that there, so those are all in position with each other. Drop this a tick. Just a tick. There we go. Let me bring this back in, right? And let's just use a masking layer. There. Tarek's not important. Air Academy is though. No, not like this. Not like this. Free transform. Bring down the size a touch. Bring it over here so it's in column. There we go. Probably have there. Probably going to want to rebuild this map so the angle is a little different, but I'm fine with just messing around with it. See, like I'm getting into the manifest zone. I could probably change the pitch of this so it's more linear. So that would mean if it was more linear like this, that would mean I would need to give this a twist like that. transform. Zoom in more like this. This is probably more like what we actually need. Lock all that in here, like that. To assure we get what we need, I'm going to let's put a large splotch. Nope. There's a large splotch down. So we can properly build out this frame. And then we can put in a thing. I think this is the right course. Good. Fade this in here to the edges. Also good. I kind of like the idea of this having a little bit more space opened up down here. Here. Let's blend that in, Gurney. Yeah, we're gonna do some more design work today at lunchtime at 1:30. That'll be for 5.5 hours from now. We're going to work on Spelljammer subclasses. We're anticipating a change to. We're going to update the 2024 mechanics for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book that we built. I don't think there's going to have to be, like, they changed how Blade Ward works, for instance. They changed it to, like, a +2 armor class bonus as opposed to gaining resistance to BPS until the start of your next turn. That Blade Ward was actually really important to the survivability of low-level characters in high-risk ship combat scenarios. So I'm actually kind of glad they changed that the way that Blade Ward works so that we can remove it as a spellcasting option and instead just make it a flat support bonus action. So we're going to have to go into the ship rules and modify what options the support rule. We just have to go in and we have to make changes to the document that way. I don't think we have to make a lot of changes to update it for 2024, but we do need to make some. So I have yet to go through and see what actually needs to change. I could technically do that at lunchtime today. Just kick open the document and just start doing a read through on it to see where we need to make, and just like start taking notes about where we need to make changes to make it compliant with 2024 or not. That might actually be a fun endeavor to pursue today. So we might actually do that. I like 2024. I like the 5e 2-4 mechanics a lot. They do a lot of cool things with characters. They've opened up the design space for what characters can do and how they can gain access to stuff and how you can cheat the rules to create the effects that you want. So I am excited about what 5e24 is going to bring us in the next decade. Yeah, this is obnoxious slow process. We have a general sense of space that we're going to need for the map now. That's good. I mean, we already knew what that space kind of was, but the assets that we provide in the zip file have, like, all the maps and tokens and stuff that we use as illustrations inside here are assets that are provided in the zip folder when you download this. And so, like, the map that we'll put here will just be a proper, like, non-faded to square edge map that you can just drop into your VTT or print out if you want to have at your table. But, oh shit, it's time for me to go. It's 7:56, so I'm going to go ahead and step out for now. We'll be back at 1:30 Seattle time. That's 5.5 hours from now. We'll work on some Spelljammer 5e24 mechanic conversion. And we'll be back tomorrow morning to continue working on Eberron Art stuff. I'll see you guys there then. Cheers.